Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to start with something that I believe has held so many of us back, something that is quietly pervasive but immensely powerful: comparison. We all do it. We compare our successes, our looks, our status, even our happiness to others. But here's the truth: the moment we begin to compare ourselves, we take the first step down a path that leads to envy, self-doubt, and ultimately unhappiness. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spent years chasing success, but not the kind of success he wanted. He was chasing a version of success he'd seen in others: fancy cars, impressive job titles, the house on the hill. Day after day, he felt frustrated and defeated. Why couldn't he have what they had? Why did everyone else seem so far ahead? One day, a mentor looked him in the eye and asked him a simple question: are you living your own life, or are you trying to live someone else's? That moment changed everything. We often forget that no two journeys are the same. Some of us face challenges that others will never experience. Others are blessed in ways we can't even imagine. Our paths are unique because we are unique. And it's that uniqueness that gives us strength. Just because someone else's life looks a certain way, it doesn't mean it's the life we're meant to have, or that it would even make us happy. Instead of comparing yourself to someone else, ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? Focus on your growth, focus on your goals, focus on being 1% better than you were last week, last month, last year. Growth isn't always about giant leaps. Sometimes it's the small, consistent steps forward that define who we become. Now, I know it's not easy. I know it's human nature to feel insecure, to look at others and think, why not me? But in those moments, I want you to think about gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus. It moves us from lack to abundance, from jealousy to joy, and from dissatisfaction to contentment. When we're grateful, we can look at our own lives, our own gifts, and finally see the value in them. And remember, success is deeply personal. It's not about what society says or what anyone else achieves. Your success is defined by you. So stop comparing, stop doubting, and start embracing the life you were meant to live. Because the greatest story you can ever tell isn't found in someone else's life, it's in your own. Thank you. Comparison can feel harmless at first. It often starts as a quick thought, a passing glance. You see someone else who seems to have more than you, more money, more friends, more success. Maybe they're more attractive, have more opportunities, or seem to breeze through challenges that would take you weeks or even months to overcome. And you think, what's wrong with me? That small thought can snowball, and suddenly you're no longer just admiring someone's accomplishments, you're questioning your own worth. When we start to compare, we unknowingly hand over control of our happiness. Instead of feeling fulfilled by our unique qualities, we begin to view ourselves as inadequate. It's as if there's a mental scoreboard where we're always just a few points behind, and no matter how hard we try, we're constantly failing to measure up. The trap of comparison is that it's never enough. You'll never find satisfaction there because the yardstick you're measuring yourself against keeps shifting. Today, you might compare yourself to a friend who got a promotion tomorrow. It's a stranger on social media who seems to have a dream life. What makes this trap so insidious is that it convinces us that others' successes diminish our own. It warps our perspective until we're unable to see our achievements or gifts without filtering them through someone else's story. Imagine building a beautiful home brick by brick, putting your heart into it. Then one day you visit someone else's house, bigger and brighter, and suddenly all the pride you felt about your own home evaporates. The work you did hasn't changed. The value it brings to your life hasn't changed. But in that moment of comparison, you let someone else's reality define yours. Comparison is also exhausting. It drains our mental and emotional energy because we're constantly analyzing, evaluating, and critiquing both ourselves and others. When we're caught in this cycle, we can't fully focus on our own journey. Our attention is diverted outward, directed at things we have no control over. And the irony is that we often compare ourselves to people who don't have the same challenges or circumstances we do. They're on a completely different journey, yet we measure ourselves by their standards. It's like racing against someone who's running a completely different course and wondering why they seem ahead. But here's the thing: nobody else's success takes away from your potential. If we could look behind the scenes of others' lives, we would see struggles, fears, and insecurities that are just as real as our own. We'd see that everyone has something they're working through, something they're striving to overcome. We're all on our own paths with our own battles and triumphs. So when we start to feel that urge to compare, we need to pause and remind ourselves of our own journey. Instead of focusing on how someone else's success shines, we can take that as a reminder of what's possible for us in our own way and in our own time. And more importantly, we can remind ourselves that true fulfillment isn't found in beating others or winning some imaginary competition. It's found in the peace and satisfaction of knowing we're on our path, growing and improving in our own unique way. The trap of comparison is one we all fall into, but with self-awareness and a commitment to appreciating our unique journey, we can break free from it. Only then can we truly live and celebrate our own lives. Each of us is on a unique path in life, a journey unlike anyone else's. From the time we're born, we're shaped by a distinct combination of circumstances, experiences, and environments that mold us into who we are. We have our own talents, challenges, dreams, and ambitions, and even our struggles are tailored by our individuality. No two people will experience life in the same way. Even siblings raised in the same household develop their own perspectives, strengths, and weaknesses. This diversity in our experiences creates a rich tapestry of humanity where each of us contributes something irreplaceable. The truth is, we often overlook just how personal and unique our journey is because we're so focused on seeing where we fit in with others. We notice people who seem to have achieved milestones we haven't reached yet, and it can be tempting to compare. But the problem with comparing ourselves to others is that it assumes everyone's lives operate on the same timeline with the same set of rules. Life isn't a standardized race with checkpoints that everyone needs to reach at a certain age or in a certain age or in a certain order. Some people find their calling at a young age, while others discover their true passions much later. Some people may start families early, while others prioritize personal growth or career goals before settling down. These timelines are not right or wrong, they are simply different. When we embrace that our paths are unique, we start to understand that our timing is our own. Life presents us with certain opportunities and challenges based on where we are at any given moment. And sometimes the things we see as setbacks or obstacles are actually shaping us for something greater down the road. The person who faces adversity early in life may develop a resilience and wisdom that will serve them in ways they can't yet imagine. The person who takes longer to find their passion may have accumulated a wealth of experiences that will fuel their creativity or leadership when the time is right. These differences enrich us, giving each of us a perspective that only we can offer. When we recognize the uniqueness of our journey, it also allows us to let go of the pressure to live up to someone else's expectations. Society often has a way of imposing standards, suggesting there's a right way to be successful, happy, or fulfilled. But those standards are based on a generalized idea of what success or happiness should look like, rather than on what truly resonates with us as individuals. What might be fulfilling for one person could feel empty for another. True success isn't about meeting external standards, it's about aligning our lives with our own values and finding meaning in ways that are authentic to us. Understanding the uniqueness of our paths also helps us develop compassion for others. When we see someone who seems to be struggling or making choices we wouldn't make, we can remind ourselves that they're on their own journey with their own lessons to learn. Just because their choices don't mirror ours doesn't mean they're wrong. The beauty of life is that each person's journey has its own purpose, its own rhythm, and its own outcomes. By honoring our own path, we give others the freedom to honor theirs. Ultimately, our individual journey is a gift. It's a story that only we can tell, one that's filled with moments of growth, discovery, and transformation. When we embrace our unique path, we begin to see that life isn't about following someone else's footsteps. It's about leaving our own mark, taking each step with purpose, and finding meaning along the way. Our journey is ours alone, and that's what makes it extraordinary. Focusing on your own progress is one of the most powerful ways to live a fulfilling life. It's about turning your attention inward, understanding your own journey, and recognizing that growth is not a competition with anyone else. Real progress, isn't about how you compare to someone else's achievements. It's about becoming a better version of yourself one step at a time, day by day, consistently moving closer to your goals, regardless of where anyone else might be on their journey. When you shift your focus to your own progress, you're making a commitment to value yourself as you are today, while also working toward who you want to become. It's about embracing the small victories that are often easy to overlook and understanding that big changes often start with tiny, almost imperceptible steps. True progress doesn't usually look like sudden breakthroughs or leaps forward. It's more like a steady, ongoing process of growth, learning, and self-discovery. Each step you take toward improvement matters, no matter how small it might seem at the moment. One of the biggest reasons to focus on your own progress is that it helps you build resilience and confidence. When you only look at where others are, you're likely to feel either overshirt or discouraged, feeling as if you're falling behind. But when you set your own goals based on your strengths and values, you're building confidence that's grounded in your personal achievements. Each milestone you reach, each new skill you develop, and each challenge you overcome serves as a reminder of your capability and inner strength. It gives you a deep sense of pride and accomplishment because you're not trying to live up to anyone else's standards. You're proving to yourself again and again that you're capable of growth and that you can keep moving forward on your own terms. Focusing on your own progress also allows you to let go of the need for external validation. When you focus on what truly matters to you and set goals that align with your purpose, you start to realize that fulfillment doesn't come from applause or recognition from others. It comes from knowing that you're working towards something meaningful and worthwhile. You become less concerned with whether others notice your achievements, and instead you find joy in simply making progress toward your own goals. This approach creates a strong sense of self-worth and purpose that doesn't rely on other people's approval or opinions. By directing your energy toward your own progress, you also learn to trust yourself. It's easy to feel uncertain when you're constantly comparing your path to others, but focusing on your progress requires you to make decisions that are right for you. You begin to trust your instincts, your choices, and your ability to overcome setbacks. You recognize that setbacks are part of growth. They aren't failures, but opportunities to learn and improve. When you're focused on your own progress, you're more likely to approach challenges with a mindset of resilience and adaptability. You learn to adjust your goals when needed, to be flexible in your approach, and to understand that setbacks don't define you, they help shape you into a stronger, wiser person. Another powerful benefit of focusing on your own progress is the sense of peace it brings. Constantly comparing ourselves to others often creates anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, and even resentment. But when we're focused on our own growth, we can be at peace with where we are. We can accept that we're on a journey, that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and that every day offers a chance to learn, grow, and improve. This approach helps you appreciate your unique path and find joy in the present moment, rather than always feeling the pressure to catch up or measure up to others. You're free to celebrate your own wins, no matter how small, and to feel genuinely proud of the steps you're taking. Finally, when you focus on your own progress, you're setting yourself up for long-term success and personal fulfillment. You're building a life that's based on your own values and priorities rather than on what society, friends, or social media might suggest is important. You're more likely to reach goals that feel meaningful and satisfying because they're rooted in what truly matters to you. Over time, this approach leads to a richer, more fulfilling life, one that's built on purpose, resilience, and self-respect. You're not just reaching milestones, you're becoming the person you were meant to be. And that ultimately is the truest measure of success. Overcoming insecurities is a journey of courage and self-acceptance. Insecurity is something we all face. It's that feeling of inadequacy, the nagging doubt that we aren't enough, smart enough, talented enough, attractive enough, or worthy enough. Insecurities can stem from various places: our past experiences, moments when we felt rejected or judged, or from comparing ourselves to others. They often create a wall between who we are and who we want to be. But overcoming these insecurities is not just possible, it's transformative. The first step in overcoming insecurity is acknowledging it. Many of us bury our insecurities deep down, hoping they'll fade if we ignore them. But the more we try to avoid them, the more power they have over us. By recognizing and naming our insecurities, we take the first crucial step toward freeing ourselves from them. When you can admit, yes, I feel insecure about this, you're no longer hiding from it, you're facing it head on. And that's where growth begins. Facing your insecurities means you're willing to confront the parts of yourself that feel vulnerable, and that vulnerability is a powerful place to start. A huge part of overcoming insecurity is understanding where it comes from. Often, insecurities are rooted in past experiences, sometimes as far back as childhood. Maybe a critical comment from someone planted a seed of self-doubt, or perhaps there was a moment where you felt like you didn't measure up. And that feeling stayed with you. Sometimes insecurities come from the unrealistic standards society sets, images of perfection that make us question if we're good enough. By digging into the origin of our insecurities, we can start to see them for what they are: beliefs that we have taken on over time but don't necessarily reflect the truth of who we are. Self-compassion is another vital part of this journey. We are often our harshest critics, judging ourselves more intensely than we would ever judge others. But to overcome insecurity, we need to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend. Instead of criticizing ourselves for our perceived shortcomings, we can remind ourselves that everyone has insecurities as part of being human. Self-compassion allows us to let go of the unrealistic expectation of perfection and to accept ourselves, flaws and all. When we can offer ourselves grace, we create an inner environment that's more conducive to growth. It's also important to challenge the negative beliefs that fuel our insecurities. Often these insecurities are rooted in thoughts that aren't entirely accurate assumptions or exaggerations that we have accepted as truth. For example, if you feel insecure about your abilities, you might tell yourself, I'll never be good at this. But if you step back and examine this belief, you might see that it's an exaggeration. Maybe you haven't mastered it yet, but that doesn't mean you never will. Replacing these thoughts with more balanced perspectives takes time, but with practice you can rewire the way you see yourself. Another key to overcoming insecurity is celebrating small victories. Growth happens in stages, not overnight. When you set small, achievable goals and recognize your progress, you build confidence over time. Each small victory, each step forward reminds you that you're capable of change and growth. These small successes add up and gradually reshape your self-image. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who's insecure, you begin to see yourself as someone who's growing, evolving, and overcoming. This shift in self-perception is powerful because it helps you break free from the identity that your insecurities have imposed on you. Developing resilience is also essential in overcoming insecurities. Resilience is the ability to keep going despite setbacks, to bounce back from failures, and to keep trying even when things don't go as planned. Insecurities often hold us back because we're afraid of failing or being judged. But the truth is, everyone experiences setbacks. They're a natural part of growth. By building resilience, you learn to handle these setbacks without letting them define you. Each time you get back up, each time you keep moving forward, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your doubts. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is another critical factor. The people in our lives have a profound impact on how we see ourselves. If you're around people who criticize, judge, or belittle you, it's easy for those voices to become part of your inner dialogue. But when you're with people who believe in you, encourage you, and see your strengths, they can help you see yourself in a more positive light. Positive relationships provide a safe space where you can express yourself without fear of judgment. And they remind you that you're valued for who you are, insecurities and all. Ultimately, overcoming insecurity is about becoming comfortable with yourself. It's about reaching a place where you no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone, including yourself. This doesn't mean you'll never feel insecure again. It means you'll have the tools to handle those moments when they arise. You'll know how to remind yourself of your strengths, to challenge the doubts that creep in, and to stay focused on the journey of self-growth rather than perfection. Insecurities are just one part of our story, not the whole of who we are. By facing them, understanding them, and working through them, we can become stronger, more resilient, and more authentic. Overcoming insecurity is not just about feeling better in the moment, it's about reclaiming the confidence to live fully and freely. It's about building a relationship with yourself that's rooted in respect, acceptance, and an unshakable belief in your own worth. When you reach that place, you're no longer held back by the fear of inadequacy. You're empowered to be who you truly are. And that is a freedom worth every step of the journey. Turning weaknesses into strengths is a transformative process that requires honesty, resilience, and the willingness to see beyond our current limitations. We all have areas where we feel less capable, whether it's a skill we lack, a personality trait we wish we could change, or a setback that seems insurmountable. But what if those very things we consider our weaknesses could become our biggest sources of growth? When we embrace the idea that our weaknesses have something valuable to teach us, we begin to see them not as barriers, but as opportunities to grow, evolve, and even shine. The first step in turning weaknesses into strengths is acknowledging them. It takes courage to admit where we fall short or where we feel vulnerable. Often we try to hide our weaknesses, thinking they're things we should be ashamed of. But hiding or ignoring them only makes them more powerful, because we can't improve in areas we refuse to confront. By honestly identifying and owning our weaknesses, we give ourselves permission to change. Acknowledging them is not an admission of failure, it's the beginning of growth. Once we recognize a weakness, the next step is to reframe it. Sometimes a weakness is simply a strength in disguise. For example, someone who is overly cautious may see this as a drawback, but caution can also translate into being thorough, detail-oriented. Or perhaps you struggle with assertiveness, which might seem like a weakness, but that same tendency may make you more empathetic and a good listener. When we start to look at our weaknesses from a different perspective, we begin to see the qualities within them that can actually work in our favor. Building self-awareness around our weaknesses also opens the door to personal development. Every weakness is an invitation to learn. If you struggle with organization, for instance, you can look for tools, strategies, or routines that can help you manage tasks more effectively. Over time, what once felt like a constant source of stress can become a skill you feel confident in, or if you tend to avoid speaking up, you can start practicing assertiveness in small ways. Growth often comes from doing the things that make us uncomfortable. Each step you take to address a weakness is a step toward turning it into a strength. You're not only developing skills, but you're also building confidence as you face challenges head-on. Another crucial part of transforming weaknesses is learning to embrace failure. Failure is often where we feel our weaknesses the most, where they seem most exposed, but failure doesn't define us, it teaches us. It reveals areas where we can improve, and it also teaches resilience. When we fail, we're forced to confront our weaknesses directly, but we also have the chance to learn from them. Over time, our experiences with failure make us stronger and wiser. They give us the tools to handle future challenges with more grace and confidence. The fear of failure is often the biggest barrier to turning weaknesses into strengths, but when we accept failure as part of the journey, we gain the freedom to grow without fear holding us back. Finding role models or mentors who have turned their own weaknesses into strengths can also be inspiring and motivating. Many successful people have stories of overcoming traits or skills that once held them back. By learning from their experiences, we can see that our own challenges are not insurmountable. We can adopt some of their strategies, adapt their approaches, and use their journeys as a reminder that growth is possible for us too. Role models show us that weaknesses don't have to be permanent limitations. They can be the very things that propel us towards success. Another approach to turning weaknesses into strengths is to integrate them with our strengths. For instance, if you're not naturally organized but are creative and spontaneous, you can look for ways to bring creativity into your organizational efforts. And maybe you use visual aids like mind maps or colorful charts to make organizing tasks more engaging. By combining a strength with an area you struggle with, you're not only addressing a weakness, you're also creating a system that aligns with your personality and preferences. This integration helps you work with rather than against your natural tendencies. The process of transforming weaknesses also helps build resilience and mental strength. Each time you confront a weakness, you're choosing to step out of your comfort zone. You're choosing growth over complacency, and that decision builds a mindset of resilience. This resilience becomes a strength in itself, allowing you to face challenges and setbacks with a sense of determination. Overcoming weaknesses teaches you that you're capable of change, that you can handle discomfort, and that you can adapt to new situations. This inner strength becomes invaluable, not just for overcoming specific weaknesses, but for any challenge that life throws your way. Turning weaknesses into strengths also deepens your empathy and understanding of others. When you've worked through your own challenges, you're more likely to be compassionate toward others facing theirs. You understand that growth isn't easy, that change takes time, and that everyone has areas where they struggle. This empathy can strengthen your relationships, improve your leadership abilities, and make you a more supportive friend or colleague. In a way, overcoming your weaknesses allows you to serve others better because you know what it feels like to grow through adversity. In the end, turning weaknesses into strengths isn't about becoming flawless, it's about becoming resilient, resourceful, and adaptive. It's about embracing the areas where we feel vulnerable and working to grow from them. Each step you take to overcome a weakness brings you closer to becoming your true self, one who isn't defined by limitations but is instead empowered by the journey of self-improvement. When you turn a weakness into a strength, you're creating a more whole, more empowered version of yourself, one who knows that anything is possible with effort, patience, and perseverance. Gratitude is a powerful practice that leads to deep personal fulfillment. It's not just about saying thank you or noticing what you have. It's about cultivating a mindset that appreciates life in all its forms, the small joys, the lessons learned, the people who support you, and even the challenges that help you grow. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, and this simple shift has profound effects on how we experience life. When we embrace gratitude, we begin to feel a sense of abundance, and that abundance is a cornerstone of true personal fulfillment. At its core, gratitude transforms our perspective on life. When we're caught up in a cycle of wanting more, whether it's material things, achievements, or approval from others, it's easy to feel dissatisfied and unfulfilled. We might reach one goal, only to feel that we need to achieve something even bigger next time. This endless chase keeps us in a state of constant longing. But when we pause to truly appreciate what we already have, we break that cycle. Gratitude reminds us that fulfillment doesn't come from acquiring more, it comes from recognizing and valuing what's already present in our lives. This shift allows us to find contentment in the here and now, rather than pinning our happiness on some future milestone. Gratitude also connects us to the people around us. When we're grateful for the support, kindness, and love that others give us, we cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships. Expressing gratitude to others shows them that they matter, that presence in our lives is valued. It fosters a sense of connection and reciprocity, making us feel more supported and valued in return. Relationships based on mutual appreciation and gratitude are strong and resilient, and they become a source of lasting fulfillment. Instead of looking at relationships as transactions or expecting others to always meet our needs, gratitude helps us focus on the positive aspects of our relationships, which builds trust, respect, and genuine connection. Practicing gratitude also enhances our resilience. Life is full of challenges, disappointments, and setbacks, but when we approach these difficulties with a mindset of gratitude, we find strength we didn't know we had. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the painful aspects of life or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it means acknowledging the struggles and finding something valuable within them. Maybe a tough experience taught us a valuable lesson or made us stronger, or maybe it revealed new aspects of ourselves that we hadn't recognized before. When we approach life's difficulties with gratitude, we're more likely to find meaning and growth in them, which leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment. We begin to see that even the hard moments have something to offer. Gratitude also helps us cultivate a sense of purpose. When we focus on what we're thankful for, we start to see what truly matters to us. We notice the people, activities, and experiences that bring us the most joy and meaning. This awareness helps us align our actions with our values. Instead of being driven by external expectations or societal pressures, where we're guided by what genuinely resonates with us. Gratitude acts as a compass, pointing us toward the things that fulfill us on a personal and spiritual level. This clarity brings a profound sense of purpose and direction, helping us build a life that feels authentic and meaningful. Incorporating gratitude into our daily lives doesn't require major changes. It's about making small, intentional shifts in our mindset. Taking a few moments each day to reflect on things we're thankful for can be incredibly impactful. Whether it's writing in a gratitude journal, mentally listing a few things you appreciate, or simply savoring a quiet moment, these practices help rewire our brains to notice the positives. Over time, these small acts of gratitude create a habit of focusing on abundance rather than scarcity. This abundance mindset brings peace, joy, and satisfaction, all of which contribute to a lasting sense of fulfillment. Gratitude also frees us from the grip of comparison. When we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, it's easy to feel that we're lacking. But gratitude helps us focus on our own journey and recognize our unique blessings. It reminds us that our lives don't have to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. When we're grateful for what we have, we're less likely to envy others or feel inadequate. Instead, we can celebrate our own successes and take pride in our progress. This self-acceptance is a foundation for personal fulfillment because it allows us to be at peace with who we are rather than always striving to be something else. Another Another incredible benefit of gratitude is that it enhances our well-being. Numerous studies show that practicing gratitude can improve our mental and physical health. People who regularly practice gratitude tend to experience lower stress levels, better sleep, and even stronger immune systems. They report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. Gratitude has a powerful effect on the brain, releasing dopamine and serotonin, which boost mood and create feelings of pleasure and reward. When we make gratitude a habit, we're essentially training our brains to find joy and positivity in our lives. This consistent positivity builds a baseline of happiness, which contributes to a more fulfilling life overall. Gratitude also helps us appreciate the present moment. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in what's next, our to-do lists, upcoming goals, future plans, but gratitude brings us back to the here and now. It reminds us to savor what's happening right now, to find joy in small, everyday moments. Whether it's enjoying a warm cup of coffee, feeling the sun on our face, or sharing a laugh with a friend, gratitude teaches us to notice and appreciate these fleeting moments. When we live with gratitude, life feels richer and more textured because we're fully present in each experience. Ultimately, gratitude is about recognizing the fullness of life. It's about realizing that life is not about having everything, but about appreciating everything we have. It teaches us that fulfillment is not an external destination, it's an internal state of being. Gratitude is like a lens that reveals the beauty and richness that are already present in our lives, even in the most ordinary moments. By practicing gratitude, we cultivate a sense of wholeness and abundance that no external achievement can provide. It's a mindset that brings us back to what truly matters and reminds us that fulfillment is within our reach every day. Redefining success on your own terms is one of the most liberating and empowering choices you can make. In a world where success is often defined by societal standards such as wealth, fame, career achievements, or physical appearance, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring ourselves by external expectations. A true success isn't about meeting someone else's definition or fitting into a mold. It's about discovering what genuinely brings you joy, fulfillment, and purpose. When you redefine success in a way that aligns with your own values and aspirations, you open up a path to a more authentic and satisfying life. The first step to redefining success is to reflect on what truly matters to you. This process requires honest self-assessment. What are your values? What are the things that bring you joy? What experiences make you feel alive and connected to yourself and the world around you? For some, success might mean building close, loving relationships or making a difference in the community. For others, it could be about achieving creative freedom, pursuing knowledge or soaring knowledge, or simply having a balanced, peaceful life. Taking the time to understand your own priorities and values helps you create a vision of success that is deeply personal and meaningful. This clarity gives you the freedom to pursue goals that feel true to who you are, not who you think you're supposed to be. Once you have a sense of what truly matters to you, redefining success means letting go of comparison. We live in a society that constantly pushes us to compare ourselves with others. We look at what our peers have achieved, at the curated lives we see on social media, and often we measure our worth by how we stack up. But comparison can be a thief of joy and a barrier to fulfillment. When we base our sense of success on others' lives, we're chasing goals that aren't our own. Redefining success on your terms means focusing on your unique journey and understanding that your life is valuable and worthy, regardless of how it compares to anyone else's. It's about choosing to walk your own path, knowing that it doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be fulfilling. Redefining success also involves embracing the process rather than just the end result. Society often emphasizes outcomes, getting the promotion, buying the house, reaching a milestone. While these achievements can be meaningful, they don't define our whole lives. When we focus solely on the destination, we miss out on the growth, learning, and experiences that happen along the way. Real, lasting success is found in the journey. It's in the perseverance, the skills you develop, the resilience you build, and the lessons you learn. When you redefine success to include the process, you allow yourself to find meaning and fulfillment even when things don't go exactly as planned. Each step, each effort, and each challenge become valuable parts of your unique journey. Another essential aspect of redefining success is learning to appreciate the small victories. Society tends to celebrate grand achievements and big milestones, but often, the true richness of life is in the small moments of accomplishment that might seem insignificant to others. These are the daily wins, the habits you form, the times you keep going when things get tough, the connections you build, or the moments of kindness you offer to others. When you start to recognize and celebrate these small victories, you create a mindset of success that isn't tied to monumental achievements. This approach keeps you grounded in the present, helping you to see the value in each day rather than constantly waiting for some big moment to validate your efforts. Redefining success also involves questioning and challenging societal expectations. We're often told that success looks a certain way, like climbing a corporate ladder, earning a specific income, or achieving a particular status. But these definitions are not universal truths, they are just ideas that society has constructed. When you redefine success for yourself, you allow yourself to question these norms and break free from their constraints. This process may involve taking unconventional paths, embracing non-traditional career choices, or pursuing goals that others might not understand. It can feel intimidating to go against the grain, but redefining success is about finding the courage to honor your own path, even if it looks different from what others might expect. One of the most liberating aspects of redefining success is that it encourages you to focus on intrinsic rather than extrinsic rewards. External rewards such as money, status, and approval from others can be fleeting and don't necessarily bring lasting happiness. Intrinsic rewards, on the other hand, are the inner feelings of fulfillment, satisfaction, and purpose that come from pursuing things that genuinely matter to you. When you define success on your own terms, you prioritize these intrinsic rewards. You value the personal growth, the sense of accomplishment, and the joy that come from following your passions and living a life that feels authentic. This internal focus provides a deeper, more sustainable form of fulfillment. Another important aspect of redefining success is recognizing that it evolves. The things that matter to you today might look very different from what you value 5 or 10 years from now. Life circumstances change, and so do our priorities. Redefining success allows you to adapt to these changes and to reevaluate what matters as you grow and evolve. It gives you permission to shift your goals, to pursue new passions, and to let go of goals that no longer serve you. This adaptability is empowering because it frees you from the pressure to achieve static goals and instead allows you to continuously redefine success in a way that aligns with each new chapter of your life. When you define success for yourself, you also begin to feel a greater sense of autonomy and control over your life. You're no longer striving to meet expectations set by others, which can be exhausting and unfulfilling. Instead, you're setting goals and pursuing aspirations that are meaningful to you. This sense of autonomy brings a powerful sense of purpose and direction. That you're able to set boundaries, make choices that align with your values, and focus on what truly matters to you without feeling pressured by outside influences. This autonomy empowers you to live life on your own terms, creating a path that reflects who you truly are. Finally, redefining success on your own terms helps you create a life that brings you peace. When we chase after external definitions of success, it's easy to feel anxious, inadequate, or constantly dissatisfied, as though we're never quite enough. But when you define success in a way that aligns with your inner values, you start to experience a sense of peace and contentment. You're no longer seeking approval, validation, or achievement as a measure of your worth. Instead, you find fulfillment in the life you're living, the choices you're making, and the person you're becoming. This inner peace is the true essence of success. It's the feeling of knowing that you're on a path that resonates with your heart and soul. Redefining success on your terms is a journey of self-discovery, courage, and resilience. It's about choosing to live in a way that honors your own values, strengths, and aspirations. When you redefine success, you give yourself permission to live authentically, free from the limitations of societal expectations. You create a life that feels meaningful, fulfilling, and uniquely yours, and that in itself is the most powerful form of success.